So our F1 overlord Stefano Domenicali just did this podcast, right? In good company, which is ironic because he's been keeping some very questionable company lately. The man literally said, and I quote, "We are not here to compete against other sport platforms. We are here to compete with movies, with music, with events."
Wait. Before you spiral into your little tantrum, can we acknowledge that this man just admitted he's treating F1 like it's the goddamn Marvel Cinematic Universe? And you know what? Good.
Good? Good. Morgan, the man has turned Formula One into Formula Netflix. We've got 3 races in America now, while Spa, fucking SPA, the cathedral of motorsport, is on the chopping block for rotation. Bernie Ecclestone called it Formula One, American style, and said they're trying to be American rather than pure Formula One. Bernie, the man who would sell his grandmother for $1, is calling you out for being too commercial.
Oh, Bernie said that? The same Bernie who literally tried to race in Bahrain during a civil war? The same Bernie who...
Don't deflect. Address the point.
I am addressing it. You're romanticizing an era where F1 was bleeding money and hemorrhaging viewers. Domenicali inherited a sport that was becoming as relevant as a fax machine. Now look at it. 826 million global fans, up 90 million since 2023. That's not accident, that's strategy.
Strategy? It's prostitution. They dragged the drivers out for a 30-minute Vegas circus act before the race. George Russell said, "No other sport drags you out 30 minutes before you perform." Max fucking Verstappen, Mr. Ice Cold himself, called Vegas 99% show, 1% sport, and said the drivers look like clowns.
And then Max went out and won the championship that season, so clearly the clown show didn't affect his performance, did it?
That's not the point. The point is
you're gatekeeping. You sound like those vinyl collectors who think music died when Spotify was invented. Meanwhile, F1 is pulling in 41% female viewership now. 41%. You know what that was before? Like what? 12 elderly men in tweed jackets arguing about carburetor specifications.
Oh, so now we're playing the diversity card? Fine, let's talk about diversity. You know what's diverse? Having more than 3 countries host races. But no, we're cramming 3 races into America, while historic tracks get the boot. Imola, Zandvoort, potentially Spa, circuits with actual character, actual challenge, getting tossed aside for Miami parking lot glamour shots.
Tessa, I need you to take a breath and think about this rationally for 30 seconds. Can you do that for me?
Oh, the tennis player wants to lecture me about rationality. That's rich.
When Domenicali took over, F1 was a European country club that thought having 1 race in America was being global. Now they've got a $3.65 billion revenue record. Every team is worth over $1 billion, and they're talking about sustainable fuels and net zero targets. The man didn't kill F1's soul. He gave it a fucking pulse.
A pulse? Morgan, they offered fans $200 merch vouchers when that drain cover fiasco in Vegas kicked them out at 2 a.m. $200! For a weekend that cost thousands. And Domenicali's response to driver welfare concerns? If you don't want to drive in F1, it's not compulsory. The man treats drivers like replaceable Instagram influencers.
You're cherry-picking disasters. Every major expansion has growing pains. You think Wimbledon was perfect when they first allowed professionals? Change is messy, but the results speak for themselves. Lewis Hamilton said, "Thank God he's staying. The sport is moving in the right direction." Verstappen called him great for Formula One. Even Toto Wolff said his track record speaks for itself.
Of course they're saying that publicly. They're not going to bite the hand that feeds them. But behind closed doors, Alonso said the 24-race calendar is not sustainable. Toto's own people are over the limit. The man is running drivers and teams into the ground for American dollars.
And yet somehow, magically, all 10 teams are profitable now, all of them. You know what they were before? Half of them were on life support. Williams was basically a mobile bankruptcy filing.
Oh, so we should thank Domenicali for turning F1 into WWE on wheels. Sprint races, Drive to Survive manufacturing drama, Vegas opening ceremonies that make Eurovision look subtle. The man said F1 needs to understand What are the ingredients to be relevant in the world of entertainment? Entertainment, Morgan! Not sport. Entertainment!
And you know what? He's absolutely right. Gen Z doesn't give a shit about your precious purity. They want personalities, they want stories, they want drama. Drive to Survive turned drivers into household names. My grandmother knows who Daniel Ricciardo is now because of Netflix.
Your grandmother also probably thinks F1 stands for Formula Fake.
Oh, you're really reaching now. Look, here's what you're missing. Domenicali didn't just expand to America, he cracked the code on making F1 matter globally. US fans are up 10.5% to 52 million. F1 TV subscriptions up 20% year over year. The fastest growing demographic? Women aged 16-24. That's not selling out, that's evolution.
It's devolution. And speaking of America, let's talk about the Andretti situation. FIA approved them, Michael Andretti had everything ready, and what happened? Domenicali and his cronies blocked them. Mario fucking Andretti, said he was devastated. There are reports of Greg Maffei saying he'd do everything in his power to keep Michael out. It's a closed shop, Morgan.
Okay, that's harder to defend.
Thank you! Finally! It took Mario Andretti getting screwed for you to admit this whole thing stinks.
But, and this is a big but, even with that clusterfuck, the overall trajectory is undeniable. Domenicali said F1 was Europe-centric before, and he was right. Now it's actually global. And all this talk about soul, where was F1's soul when it was hemorrhaging viewers and teams were going bankrupt?
The soul was in the racing, in the engineering, in the fact that you could tell a McLaren engine note from a Ferrari just by listening. Now we've got standardized gearboxes and Domenicali questioning whether bespoke engineering even matters.
And you know what we also have? Cost caps that mean smaller teams can actually compete instead of just showing up to get lapped. We have budget controls that prevent the big three from just buying championships. That's not killing the soul, that's making the sport actually sporting again.
Morgan, I get it. I really do. Growth is good, money is good, new fans are good. But when Max Verstappen, the most successful driver of his generation, says he feels like a clown, when Bernie Ecclestone is calling you too commercial, when historic tracks are getting binned for parking lot glamour shots, maybe, just maybe, we've sold our soul for pieces of silver. The man literally said they're inclusive in their exclusive proposition. What the hell does that even mean?
It means F1 is finally growing up. And sometimes growing up means leaving behind the things that were holding you back, even if they feel comfortable. Domenicali didn't kill F1's soul. He saved it from suffocating in its own nostalgia.
I cannot with you right now.
I know, darling, but I'm still right.
Fuck, that was good. All right, degenerates, what do you think? Are we watching the death of F1's soul or the birth of something bigger? Hit us up.
Because clearly we're never going to agree on this one.